I was thinking about what I should tell you after Victor just explained the concept, and I will measure my time so that I'm not too long. I thought that I could provide for you a story of how we managed to actually get the bill passed from the start until now, and tell you what is ahead of us for the next year. So it all started in October of 2021 with Victor writing me a message. Janka, what about kratom? We have to do something. And from that, we faced a special situation because, as Victor said, kratom was not controlled internationally, so we were free to think about how to regulate it so that the users are protected and so that the society is protected by risk use, but also so that it is passable in front of conservative politicians. And so we started thinking about the regulation, but it was shortly after the elections, and the political reality is very important in how we got where we are now. Because Pirate Party, my former party, was part of the government, of the newly formed government, and I don't know if you know Pirate Party. You have Pirate Party in Slovakia, but in Czech Republic it is part of the party's program since 2013 that all substances should be regulated according to their risk potential. And so our program for the elections was to regulate cannabis and also to provide the best care to addiction patients, and also to regulate substances according to, as I said, their risk potential. This is how we got an important, very important sentence into the government program, which said exactly this. I personally worked for like 3 weeks to get this one sentence into the program statement, but it got us very far. We always referenced that this is the government program, that they all agreed on it, and I think if it hadn't been there, we would have a more difficult time even getting the regulation passed. Even though it was in the government program, it was also very important that there were mentions of regulation and of prohibition not functioning in the national strategy and also in the national action plan. These are documents that can sometimes be overlooked by politicians, but as we started, we could rely on these documents to say, okay, this is a document that the government has agreed on, and we are simply making it happen. Apart from this, there of course were some hurdles or barriers that we had to overcome when we were preparing the regulation. Some of those were briefly mentioned already. It is very strictly regulated, the products for human consumption in the European Union. There is a very small, if non-existent, gap between food regulation and medicines regulation, and we were not really sure if European Commission would agree on us making up a third category in the middle, but they did. We had a talk with one of the members of the Commission who is responsible for the interior affairs, and this is a part of them. And he said to us that they are really glad that we are trying to find out how to regulate these substances in a different way than prohibition, because the Commission does not want to take the first step, but they want there to be evidence before they can recommend some form of regulation to other countries that are suffering from the lack of regulation in this particular domain. So this barrier we passed, but also there were problems that we probably didn't anticipate it, but they were very, very real on our journey towards the psychomodulatory bill agreement. And those were, for example, competencies of the different institutions. Because if you have a new regulation, someone has to take the control, someone has to implement and actually do the control of the regulation and do the control of the production and the sale. So we had to find the capacity in the existing institutions for them to be able to actually do what the bill says they have to do. So this was a particularly big discussion. There had to be some reshuffling of competencies so that it was possible for us to progress further into the Senate. Last thing I want to say, because my time is running out, is what we are doing now. We are now working on the sub-legal norms, so we are trying to figure out how particularly will the technical details about the regulation look. It is not very fun, but it has to be done so that the regulation is complete and we can progress into implementation already. It will probably get postponed a little because the regulation should have come into implementation by January, but the sub-legal norms are not yet ready and they also have to pass through the European Commission, but we are still looking at the half of the next year to have it actually implemented. Okay, I think I will stop now. Thank you very much.